everything, and I love what I do, so that makes it better.
Well, I'm glad that it's been very successful. I'm just going to miss having you on the company.
Well, thanks.
It's been a pleasure working with you.
And you as well. You as well.
Oh, he'll be good. He'll be good.
Phone of me, he's very good at what he does. He's solid, speaks well, everything's good.
And he's been involved now for quite a while.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, he's kind of earned his stripes.
Yeah,
so
he
to
has
speak.
earned his stripes.
What's Laura doing here? We got a waste management.
They're going to make a presentation. They're going to give us something.
You like working with her?
Oh, yeah, she's great.
She's awesome.
Waste management is really good.
Yeah.
I'm glad that
Hi, Kelly.
stuff moving around.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Boy, that was a surprise. A voice from the space. Yeah, no, they are good, and they're not on the outs anymore, right?
I don't think so. I don't know what happened. Thank you very much.
It's not even gonna be an issue.
Well, let's hope not.
Exactly. Otherwise, get out of here early and.
Well, this should not be.
No. Just gonna make sure I run the meeting and not my mouth, as PBR would say.
Well, we'll just send a note down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know when they're going to post the first results.
It's usually like 8:20 or something.
Linda will email you.
Oh, will she?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell you who's what.
Actually, that is not a bad idea.
Mark and
He'll be there. He's going to do it. Julie's not known by anybody. He hasn't done anything. He needs to spend the next year building up the resume.
Yeah. No, good point. No, I don't think she'd be out. Oh, the historical. That's what it is. Oh, Diana. They'll be making a public comment, I'm sure. I guess we better sit up if it's.
Well, Jim's working with that.
Oh, that's
I
true.
really support them. I really think they should. The Historical Society is really important to any serious.
So we have 10,000 budgeted for 15, for 15, and now we're talking about 16, even though they got the 10 grand from, what's his name?
Donor.
Yeah, on behalf of the clericals. Yeah, so they got that 10, but I like the historical.
Nobody gives to Historical Society. That's
They do fundraising.
one of the hardest fundraising is for Historical Society. No one cares about it. They almost human touch their heartstrings.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the darn history of the community.
I like the historical society. I think there's great value.
Well, I was a history major in graduate school.
Oh, really?
Before I went to the master's degree, so I understand knowing history is very, very important.
Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to the November 3rd, 2015 City Council meeting for the City of Federal Way. We've got everybody present, including our mysterious and invisible colleague, Mr. Martin Moore. Councilmember Moore, can you hear us?
I sure can. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, could you share with the audience, he's appearing telephonically for those both here in the audience and watching at home. And where are you this evening, sir?
Yes, I'm actually in Warm Beach, Washington, although it's a little cold over here. It's up north, and I'm actually spending a couple days with students from Bishop Blanchette High School on their spiritual adventure. So I'm very pleased to join them, but also very pleased to join you guys and my colleagues on the City Council here.
All right. Well, thank you, Councilmember Moore. And if for any reason during the course of this you have, if there's something you cannot hear, let us know, okay?
I appreciate that. Thanks, Mayor.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. With that, let's please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. And we've got actually Troop 313 here. If the gentlemen could please make their way toward the front to do their pledge. A Boy Scout Troop 313. And we'll begin after you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let's give them a big round of applause, you guys. Now, Troop 313, when you come back, we'd love to have you come back. We'll have you guys do the flags next time, okay? So, great job. Thank you. Okay. And let me, got to put my glasses on so I can read the agenda. The first presentation we have is Recycle-Palooza Award presentation with Waste Management to Puget Sound Chinese School. We've got Jeanette Brizendine with the City of Federal Way, Laura Mosier with Waste Management, and we have got David Chow and Alice Flores, South Puget Sound Chinese School. If you could approach the podium, and I'll go ahead and read, well, why don't I read this first, and then we'll have you approach the podium. I've got some points that I would just like to make sure I make. The City of Federal Way and Waste Management have partnered each year since 2011 to offer the Recycle-Palooza contest, a citywide recognition program which encourages and rewards Federal Way residents for recycling right. To date, Waste Management has provided $24,000 in reward prizes promoting City of Federal Way recycling programs, of which Ms. Brizendine works. This year's event was held May 30th at the Federal Way Community Center. 50 residents were randomly selected from the Yes, I Want to Participate sign-up list to have their recycling carts materials sorted and judged based on acceptable and non-acceptable items found in their carts. Cart sorts were conducted on the day of the event, with the residents observing as carts took sorts place and learning through one-on-one feedback why certain materials were or were not acceptable. Resident recycle carts judged to have clean, acceptable recycling materials were entered in the drawing for reward prizes ranging from a $20 gift card at the Commons Mall to $100 garbage account credits and the grand prize $1,000 award. This year, a $1,000 match to the grand prize winner's school of choice was added. Federal Way residents Kit Lun Ho was this year's 1,000 grand prize winner. She was unable to be with us this evening, but happy to announce her school choice $1,000 winner is the South Puget Sound Chinese Language School. The South Puget Sound Chinese Language School is supported by the South Puget Sound Chinese American Club and is a non-profit operating Highline Community College. Their teachers are all volunteers without pay. Receiving the $1,000 will allow the school to postpone a tuition increase as well as provide tuition discount for their low-income families. Here this evening to accept the $1,000 check is Alice Flores, President of the South Puget Sound Chinese American Club, Sui Fang, Vice President of South Puget Sound Chinese Language School, and David Chow, Past Principal for the South Puget Sound Chinese Language School. And we've also got Laura. Laura, you guys want to approach the podium, and we'll do a, you want to say a few words, and we'll do the donation?
Sure.
Should we do the check first?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do the fun part.
Here, let's come around to the,
Here.
come
I
around
don't
to the,
need to be in the picture.
oh, yes, you do.
Oh, yes, you do.
Yes, you do. Come on, Laura.
Oh, so does Jeanette then. Come
Yes,
on.
of course. Yeah.
You got me.
There you go. Right there, you're fine.
Smile.
All right. Go ahead.
So, I just wanted to say thank you to Jeanette for a fabulous job in putting together Recycle-Palooza for the City of Federal Way. She does a fantastic job for the city and promoting recycling in the city. I have the actual real check right here, so if you want to come up and say a couple things in regards to the school, we're just happy to be a partner with the city, and we love giving away money. So here's the real check.
Thank you. I happen to be a brand manager, so I can catch this check anytime. Mayor Farrell, Deputy Mayor Bovich, all council members, Laura Moses and Jeanette Brizendine from Waste Management, thank you very much. My name is David Chow. I was the principal for Chinese language school from 1997 to 2001, and I'm currently the foreign language school advisor for the Chinese school. as well as the Scout Troop Committee Chairman. Thank you for this $1,000 grand prize for our Chinese school, and also she couldn't come tonight, Ms. Kitlan Ho, our parent from the Chinese school, and we really appreciate her for nominating the Chinese school. With me tonight is our Chinese school vice principal, Mrs. Hui Fang. And we also, the Chinese school is run by the Chinese club with have about 200 members, all resident in the Federal Way. Our Chinese school was established in 1981 by one of our club members, Lucy Charles. Her husband is a CPA with a couple blocks away from here, in Federal Way. 90% of our students are from City of Federal Way. We also own the only Chinese school that have a Scout troop, which we also register with the Boy Scout of America and Scout of China. So it's very unique. And all the teachers volunteer without pay. Although our tuition is considered very inexpensive, but we do have families that have financial difficulty and they drop out from our school. So with this $1,000 will help us provide the free tuition discount and also books for the family. We appreciate the City of Federal Way to allow us to serve, and also thank you very much, and thank you. Good night.
Great, thank you. Well, Jeanette, thank you so much for the work you do every day for the City of Federal Way. She's known regionally on this effort, and actually one time we had a regional meeting of recyclers actually in this very room. So thank you very much. And Laura, thank you very much for your work, and it's very great that you're doing this and showing the commitment. And thank you, sir, for your presentation. We appreciate that, and for the great work you do at the school every day. All right, so let's go ahead. Thank you. Let's go ahead and move on to emerging issues and report by me. As you can see from the picture here, we had the grand opening of, the groundbreaking for the Performing Arts and Event Center. That was October 21st, the day after our last City Council meeting. It was a fantastic event, had a lot of folks there, and it was a very momentous occasion there where we were able to, we had well over 200 people there. So it was a very momentous day for this community. And thank you everybody for your participation in that. And I was really surprised with the turnout. Was just absolutely fantastic. Council members, do you have anything to add about that day? No? Yeah, it's great. It's perfect. All right, just thought I'd give the opportunity. All right, we've got, just as a reminder, we've got the SeaTac Airport Noise FAA public meeting here at City Hall on November 19th at 7 p.m. So again, November 19th, 7 p.m. here at City Hall. We'd love to hear from you. We'll have representatives from SeaTac Airport and the FAA regarding airplane noise. Next, we've got a presentation by Parks Director John Hutton regarding the tree lighting event. I always steal all the thunder, so I'm just going to let you take it from here, John.
Well, thank you, Mayor Farrell, Deputy Mayor Burbidge, and members of the City Council. I am bringing exciting news tonight. This year's holiday tree lighting ceremony will be held at Wild Waves, and we're very excited about that partnership. It is going to be a terrific event. That is scheduled for Friday, December 4th. Begins at 7 o'clock. We'd like people to arrive by 7 o'clock and be in the park. The actual tree will be lit at 7:30, and there's going to be carols and lots of fun activities, in addition to free admission into Wild Waves for all those that arrive before 7:30, as long as you live within the Federal Way School District boundaries. So this is going to be a great event, and I'm also here to confirm the rumor that a very popular and jolly fellow will be arriving on a South King County Fire and Rescue fire truck that evening for the kids. That's always a fun event. It is going to be a lot of fun, and we're very excited to be partnering with Wild Waves on this. There will also be a food drive for the Federal Way School District to benefit the school district. More details will be emerging as the plans formalize. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Jeff Stock, Todd Sukon, and Christy Brady of Wild Waves for their generous support. And also the mayor and Steve McNay were instrumental in getting us over there. We're very excited about that, and it should be a great event, and I'm happy to answer any questions for you.
Could you outline once again, it's free to the people that are generally in the school district
If
area?
you're in the school district boundaries, just to bring your ID and your zip code, we'll get you in for free. It's going to be a great event, and that's really generous of them to allow the entire community into the park at no charge for the holiday tree lighting. So we're very excited about this, and it should be a really fun event. New venue until we get Town Square ready with the living tree that'll be installed here soon, and so we're very excited about being at Wild Waves. It's going to be a great event.
All right, council, any questions of John Hutton? Okay, great, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are we going to have? John. We're going to have details of this on our city website.
We'll have details out soon. They're still formulating a couple of last-minute details, and once that's all ready to go, then we'll put it up on the website, and we'll be able to answer all those questions that may be frequently asked.
We'll need to put this on our reader board on 3/20th and really get the word out.
You'll start to see a pretty big marketing push toward this. It'll be a lot of fun.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, that's the. That'll be fun. All right. So just to reiterate, Friday, December 4th, 7 p.m. All right, Troop 313, take care. See you next time. All right, that's all I have for my report. Now for the most important part of the evening, we've got citizen comment. I have one pink sheet, and I also have a yellow sheet for comment during the budget session. So if anybody else wishes to provide a pink sheet and address the council, please let us know. Our one and only, our sole pink sheet is David Runyon. Sir?
I happened to run across this Federal Way Chamber of Commerce magazine. I guess it's the last one they put out. And so I got to reading some of it, and I just wanted to comment on one of the articles. It's titled Right at Home, Residences for All Lifestyle. And I have a paragraph here that I highlighted that really kind of stunned me. It says, residents relish the Interstate 5 and State Highway 167 gave those working outside of Federal Way short commute times. When commuters don't want to drive, they can catch a train that South Transit regularly runs to many of the local communities as well as Seattle and Tacoma. I have worked full-time everywhere from downtown Seattle to Boeing Field, Tacoma, and Olympia, and I never knew that they had trains that we could catch around here. So I just wanted to let anybody that is tired of driving on the interstate, it says all they have to do, they can catch a train that Sound Transit regularly runs to many of the local communities. So I'll leave a copy of this for the mayor, and you can take a look at it and see what you think. I thought it was the biggest bunch of bull I ever read.
Well, from Federal Way it is. When I worked in downtown, there was a time where I took the Sound Transit train. You'd have to go down to Auburn to catch it, and that would be the closest train. So that's where the sounder picks up. But the Chamber of Commerce put that out, and of course we didn't look at it before they sent it out. But David, thank you very much. What my hope is that very soon is that light rail will come to Federal Way, but it's going to take quite some time. It'll take 2023 before it gets down to even 240th. So, but anyway, thank you for pointing that out. I will communicate that to the CEO of the chamber. I'll see her tomorrow. All right, thank you, David. Well, council, were there any other questions? All right. What's that? Oh, I did get another one. All right. All right. All right, Betty Taylor.
Okay, so, all right, my name is Betty talk about, I'm going to briefly talk about a ride-along that I did on about a couple of weeks ago, and I thought that we're not going to show a video. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
No, not tonight.
Okay. Anyway. First of all, I'm gonna basically talk about what the ride-along is, and a ride-along is an experience. Experience is key to his or her law enforcement training. In particular, the training, the training that anyone that the ride-along, whoever ride-along observes. We when you ride along, you observe different things that are going on, in the city, with the police department and stuff, and it helps resolve like different questions that you might have in your mind. Anyway, on this particular night that I did a ride-along, it was really, it made a real big impact to me. And so anyway, the officer that I rode with, his name was Officer Ernest. I forgot his last name. But he was, and the incident was, it was a 5-car collision on 348th. It was a DUI. But I really liked the mannerism of the police officer, Officer Ernest. I liked the way he was calm, and and I really liked the way that at the scene of everyone came together, and all the agencies worked together. There was a police department, there was a fire department, there was an ambulance, there was a tow truck, and like everything works in clockwork. And I mean, and like, I have been in an accident many years ago. Am I gonna get?
No, well, go ahead.
Thanks. Okay. All right. I have been in an accident many years ago, but that was on the other side. But to, involved in something, but to be in the midst of something and to see how the operation is. I mean, everything, it was fast motion. And basically, I sat in the car the whole time, and I watched everything through the window of the car. But I watched how Officer Ernest, he put out the cones, directing the traffic to go, traffic was coming off of Highway 18, going westbound. But the way that it was done decently and in order. There was no confusion. Everybody knew what their job was. And I appreciate that. I left with such a sense of appreciation for the men and women that served. I left with such an appreciation in my heart of, wow, the dedication and the time, and how everybody that was there from beginning to end. I think total run time was maybe about 3 hours or maybe 2.5 hours. But from the operation of everything was orchestrated. Like the cars were, getting the cars to go in one lane, and having the car cones. Some people in the car, they were mad. They got cussed at, I heard the people in the cars cussing, and stuff, but that did not sway anyone. They just went about their business, and they did what they needed to do to get the job done. But they did a very good job, and I really appreciate that so much. And I do want to give honor. I want to give honor to the officer that took me on the ride along, and as I think that one thing that that would help is, well, I did mention that one thing that would help is if like after, you know, I know that I'm not going to be the only citizen that asks for a ride-along. I'm not. There are going to be tons and tons of citizens, but I think that I would like to see, like, after a ride-along, it would be good to have like a comment, not comment, excuse me, but like a box, like checks, like, you know, what does this officer do? Did this officer do? And then check. You know, because we're talking about accountability here, something that can go into that officer's file, and you know, because we want to make the officers look good too.
Right.
We want to make them look good too. Not that we're trying to make anybody look bad, but it's about accountability.
And Betty, thank you so much. And Betty came to my office last week. We met with the chief as well. It's Ernie Sanders, right? Yeah, Officer Ernie Sanders. So thank you very much for that feedback. And we're working with the chief right now and his command staff on comment sheets for the people that do the ride-alongs. Thank you, Betty, for doing the ride-along, and thank you for doing that and for letting us know. Okay, anybody else who would like to address the council? Okay, and what Betty was first referring to was last week marked the year anniversary of the passing of our friend and former colleague Roger Freeman, and I think I speak for everybody on the dais when we say we miss Roger, and he did a tremendous amount for this community, and we miss him every day. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Betty. All right. Consent agenda. These items have gone through committee and can be passed all in one motion. They are items A through D. Item A are the minutes from the October 20th, 2015 regular and special meeting. Item B, the monthly financial report, September 2015. Item C, vouchers from September 2015. Item D, fall 2015 Tourism Enhancement Grant, TAG Awards. Deputy Mayor Burbidge, do you have a motion?
I do. I move approval of items A through D on the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Prior to the motion, Councilmember Honda, do you have an item you'd like to pull?
Well, I have a question on an item. I don't need it pulled, I just want to question it.
Okay. So it's been moved and seconded, and also at that time, I'll ask if there's any discussion. So, Councilmember?
On the minutes for the special meeting.
Yes.
In which we were discussing council rules.
Yes.
I had mentioned several rules that I'd like looked at.
Okay.
And they're not listed in the minutes, so I'm wondering, were they recorded? Or do I need to send you an email, or?
Ms. Pearsall.
I have a list of topics as well as rule numbers in my office.
Okay.
So I will, I can work with you to double check to
Okay.
make sure that they're complete.
I just wanted to make sure it was
Yes.
documented. So.
And they're recorded,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Honda. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, the motion passes unanimously. All right, now moving on to public hearing. Item A, the 2015-2016 Biennial Budget Adjustment as required by RCW 35A.34. First, we'll have a staff report from our finance director, Mr. Ade Arurulu. Then we'll have citizen comment. We've got one comment. If anybody else wishes to comment, please fill out a yellow sheet. And then we'll have council questions and discussions. We actually had we'll start with the 2016 property tax levy discussion and a discussion of the budget amendment. We did last night have the first of our hearings on this at 7 p.m. yesterday. Ade, please proceed.
Good evening, Mayor Farrell, Deputy Mayor Burbidge, the council. I've also provided the council and the public a copy of the budget worksheet. Just as a reminder, this is the schedule for the budget presentation this year. Yesterday, we had a council study session on the mid-biennial budget adjustment, and today we're having public hearing as required by RCW 35A-34, and also presenting information on the property tax rate. On November 17th, we will continue the public hearing, and also we will bring before the council the ordinance to amend the 2015-2016 budget. Also, we will bring forth the ordinance to levy the property tax for 2016 on November 17. On December 1st, we're hoping to bring before the council the second reading of the budget amendment and also the second reading of the property tax rate levy, and also bring before the council the resolution on the fee schedule for the city. For budget amendment and tax levy, the state of Washington sets some guidelines that we must follow. So these are the legislative questions that we must make sure either during this process or that our report were done in accordance with these guidelines. RCW 84-55-005, RCW 84-55-120, RCW 84-55-010, RCW 84-55-0101, and RCW 84-52-020. Also hoping to address what the percentage increase over the last year and other than the new construction in the city of Federal Way. Also to be able to identify what the property tax rate will be, and how does that compare to other cities. RCW 84-55-005 define what we must use to establish the property rate, the property tax levy rate. Inflation means the percentage change in the implicit price deflator, that is IPD, for personal consumption expenditure for the United States as published for the most recent 12-month period by the Bureau of Economic Analysis of Federal Department of Commerce by September 25th. This IPD has been released. It is released to be 0.251. So limit factor means for taxing district with a population of less than 10,000, which does not apply to us. The one that applies to us is the next one for taxing district for which a limit factor is authorized under the RCW 84-55-0101, the lesser of the limit factor authorized under that section, or 101%. And for C, which will affect the city of Federal Way, for all other districts, the lesser of 101%, or 100% plus the inflation, which is the IPD. So for this year, the IPD is 0.251, which is less than 1%. So the property tax increase, instead of it being 100% and 1, it will be, 100% plus 0.251%. Also for tax levy, based on RCW 84-55-120, a single public hearing may be held on this matter, even though, based on the calendar that we're sharing with you, we're planning on having more than one public hearing on the tax levy. RCW 84-55-120, except as provided in B of this subsection, no increase in property tax revenue may be authorized by a taxing district other than the state, except by the adoption of a separate ordinance or resolution pursuant to the notice, specifically authorizing the increase in terms of both dollars and percentage. And that is why the ordinance that we will put before you will spell out the percentage and the amount that the tax increase will be. And what is exempted from that percentage is the new construction, which will not affect the percentage that we use. The limit factor is pretty much the 1%, so which we are proposing to follow what that is. According to RCW 84550101, upon a finding of substantial need, the legislative authority of a taxing district other than the state may provide for the use of a limit factor under this chapter of 101% or less. In district with legislative authorities of 4 members or less, 2/3 of the members must approve an ordinance or a resolution under this section. In district with more than 4 members, which will apply to the City of Federal Way, a majority plus 1 vote must approve an ordinance or resolution under this section. These are also part of what the council is expected to do. It shall be the duty of the city council, other than governing body of every city, other than a city having a population of 300,000 or more, so that we need to certify to the county legislative authority what the tax levy will be, and also we will be bringing that forward to the council for certification. That certification needs to be to the King County by the 4th of December. For 2016, the rate of inflation, which is IPD rate for property tax due in 2016, is 0.251. For the state and taxing district with population of 10,000 or greater, the limit factor for property taxes due in 20,000 is 100.251%. So instead of 101, it will be 100.251. The limit factor for the City of Federal Way is defined as 100% plus the lesser of the rate of inflation, or 1%. So in this case, the rate of inflation for 2016 will be 0.251. So with the public hearing today, on November 17, that will meet the requirement of the RCW, and the limit factor being the lower of 101% or 100% plus IPD. Last year, for 2015, our tax rate for 2015 is 1.245 per 1,000 of assessed value. The preliminary rate that we're looking at with King County would be 1.188 per 1,000. That would be a decrease from the 2015. The percent decrease from that would be 0.1%. The total property tax revenue on the basic tax will actually decrease by 1,230. And of course, on top of that will be the new construction that is taking place. And this ordinance, based on the requirement of RCW, will make sure that it's certified to King County by December 4th of 2015. How do we calculate the 1% loss? I just want to give you a quick breakdown on how that is calculated. Last year, actual regular levy was $10,378,185. This year levy, based on the limit factor that is required, will be $10,376,955. That is the regular levy. That means the dollar decrease will be 1,230. Percent increase or decrease over last year, that will give us a 0.01%. This is the history of the property tax rate in Federal Way, actually for 2015 and 2014, when the citizens are looking at this, knowing what makes up their property tax. For 2015, the property owner in the city of Federal Way paid a total of 15.74674 per 1,000 of their property value. Just for clarification, out of that 15.74674, only 1.39626 is coming to the city of Federal Way. The rest of it are going to the smaller district within the city of Federal Way. So for 2014 and 2015, this is what per dollar amount that a property tax owner in Federal Way paid, and that is where the money for 2015 and 2014, that is where the money went. The portion that belongs to the city of Federal Way is right here. And as you can see, from 2014 to 2015, actually, we're going down in terms of rate. So per dollar, so when a citizen at home is looking at actually say, well, for $1 that I pay in tax, how is that spent? So looking at this, per $1 of property tax paid, only 8.79 cents of that $1 is coming to the city of Federal Way. And the rest of it, as is shown, 45 cents, 45.19 cents of $1, almost half, is going to the school district. 16.1 cents of a dollar is going to the state. 14.59 cents of a dollar of property tax is going towards the fire and EMS services. And 9.48 cents per dollar of property tax is going to the county, and only 8.79 cents per dollar is coming to the city. Again, to give you a little bit of history, looking back from 2004, that is, if we compare ourselves to some of the other cities in the area. In 2004, the city of Federal Way levied 1.30 per thousand of property value, which, comparing ourselves to all these other cities, we had the lowest rate. The same thing in 2005, we had the lowest rate. In 2006, we had the lowest rate. In 2007, yes, we did not have the lowest rate. The city of Biennial had the lowest rate in 2007. But again, out of many years that you're looking at this, it was only 1 year that actually the city of Federal Way did not have the lowest tax rate. And for 2016, we're estimating that the rate will be about 1.19%, which would be a drop from the 2015. Again, slicing it differently, just to give you a graphical perspective for the 2015, of course, the city of Federal Way levied the lowest rate in terms of property tax. The question before the council then is, shall the city council increase the regular property tax consistent with the limit factor as authorized by the state statute? Remember, the factor here actually is less than 1%. And actually, by using that factor, the regular tax is actually lower. What will increase the property dollar amount for the city is the new construction, not on the old one. Yes, a citizen may say, well, my property tax is going up or whatever. It will depend on what other junior taxing district within the city are levying. So if they levy more, even though the city is lowering its tax base, a citizen may not necessarily see a lower property tax. The proposed levy, based on the statutory 1 IPD increase limit plus the new construction, the preliminary rate is approximately 1.185 per 1,000 assessed value, which is lower than the last year. And the recommendation will be for the council to conduct public hearing, and maybe next council meeting, read the first reading of the ordinance. And also we'll be bringing, in terms of our certification to the council, part of the resolution that we'll be bringing to the council is for the council to authorize me to certify to the King County the levy that you will approve with the ordinance. We'll be bringing that forth also. With that, I'll be glad to answer any question.
All right, let's go ahead and ask that if there are any questions at the council right now before we open this up to public comment, since we've just had a day testify and give information. Council, any questions?
Yes.
Councilmember Salsky.
Thanks, Mayor Farrell, and thanks for the presentation, Professor. Very, very detailed and thorough. So, I guess I'm glad to see that our city has the lowest property tax rate of our neighboring cities. That's a good thing, I think. The fact that we're so low compared to Auburn, for example, we're at 1.25%. Auburn is at 2.08%. What is it that would cause a neighboring city with many of the same facilities and needs that we have a rate almost a full percentage point higher than us?
It depends the way the limit factor is determined is based on the last highest rate. For the past 25 years, if the city didn't take all the tax capacity that it's supposed to take, it further lowers your ability to jump. So if you always stay at, say, for example, taking staircase as an example, step 1, step 2. If you remain at step 2, in order to get to 5, you have to move on to third first. You cannot jump to that 5. So for so many years, we've stayed lower. So our ability to actually bump it up is actually limited now.
So you lose opportunity basically 1 year to the next if you don't raise it to the max.
Absolutely. If you do not take the advantage of the tax limit of 1%, you risk losing some of those, yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then the second part of my question is, it looks like we're at, the preliminary rate is 1.185%, which is down, we know that, but the individual homeowner or business owner or whatever, they're assessed, I guess the rate, not the rate, but the amount they're going to pay for taxes depends on the assessed value. If that obviously has gone up, like I believe it is going up right now with this economy, even though the rate is down, they could actually be paying more.
Absolutely, because since the rate is based on the value, yes, it is. And also because our rate may be going down, other jurisdictions within the city of Federal Way tax rate may actually be going up. Mm-hmm. So if that happens, a property owner may not necessarily see an increase or see a decrease, excuse me.
It totally depends on that assessed value.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
All right, great. Councilmember Sefa Dawson.
Thank you for the presentation. So when this tax goes up, if it does, are we still talking about the school levy, the state, fire, and all the different ones, or are we only talking about the city for the increase?
The increase that I'm talking about is just for the city, because the authority of this council is only on the city's portion. Even though when an average citizen out there will pay tax, they pay tax based on all of the jurisdiction, including the city. But the only one before you, the one that I'm speaking to, is just the one levied by the city. Okay. Unfortunately, I think most citizens at home which have been here at the council, where they will come before you and say, well, my property tax is high. This council's authority is limited to just one of those taxes on the list. And the school district levy their own, the county levy their own, the EMS levy their own, and all of those are the total tax levy that the citizen will pay. So when they come before you, the only impact that you have is only the one that the city council levies, not on all the other ones.
Okay, thank you.
All right, council, any other questions? Deputy Mayor Burbidge.
Not so much a question as a comment, but thank you for your thorough presentation, Ade. And just the question that Councilmember Selsky had about the why our rate is lower substantially than comparable neighboring cities. Before I was on the council, actually, but in the early years of the city, the council tended not to take the full rate available. And that, it's my understanding, has a lot to do with the fact that our rate has consistently continued to be lower than King County's property tax rate. So that if you had other things being equal, a house across the street from the boundary, the property tax rate would be higher in King County than, unincorporated King County, than in the city of Federal Way.
Council, any other questions for Ade? All right, Ade, thank you very much. All right, we've got one yellow sheet, and again, if anybody else wishes to testify as to the biennial budget adjustment, please do so, and we'll get you to fill out a yellow sheet. Gerald Knudsen. Evening, Jerry.
Hello, thank you, Mayor Farrell, Deputy Mayor Burbidge. I don't. If I have my glasses on, I can't read my notes. So, in any event, just introduce myself. I'm Gerald Knudsen, and I'm the Vice President of the Historical Society of Federal Way, and I think I know most of you on the council. And first, I want to thank the city for the support of the Historical Society over the years in regards to specific programs, plus the facility that we have across from Steel Lake Annex, where we house our archives, and also we have a lease for the property where the cabins sit. There are cabins, but they're on your property. So, we've worked with the city for a long time. Matter of fact, the Historical Society was organized before the city. We were incorporated in 1988, so I think we were about a year before you. There was some previous organizations, but our current organization goes back to 1988. Now, the mission statement of the Historical Society of Federal Way is to preserve our past, educate the community, inspire future generations. So that's our brief mission statement. And preserving the past is probably the most important. We want to make sure the history of Federal Way exists, and for future generations they can come back and see what happened in 2015 or 1950. For those that were around in 1950 here, it's a lot different than it is today, or 1960 or 1970, and say, how do we do that? We have all the newspapers. If you want to go back and look at 1965 newspapers, my high school graduation class, we can go back there and look at the pictures when we graduated. Just had my class reunion. So that's all in our archives, and they're in the building that we have across from Steel Lake Annex. We also, again, we have those cabins across from the high levels wetlands, and those have been both restored by the Historical Society, and they're open to the public on occasion, and it's a nice entrance to the park. We also have a website. For those of you who haven't gone to the website, there's a lot of information, I think close to 1,000 pages of information related to the history of Federal Way. So you can see that. You don't have to come into our office to see it. You can go on the website. And we're just upgrading the website. It's going to be a substantial improvement. Now, we worked directly with the city a year and a half ago to get the Brook Lake Community Center. Jim Farrell and I met with an individual who controlled the property, and it's now owned by the city for nothing, except you paid some property taxes. And this beautiful painting came out of that building. So, we've worked with the city on a lot of things. And don't I get 5 minutes?
Yeah, you do, Jerry.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to say that.
Now, as explained, and we passed out information to everyone, the society, and this isn't new news, but we've been operating at a deficit for several years. And we're fortunate to have a little money in the bank because of some generous contributions from members of our local community. But, you know, we can't afford to just use up that money until we run out of money and then shut the door. We want to be around, you know, for my grandkids if they live in Federal Way. We want to be around for the future. So we've got to operate as at least a break even. We've got to cover our operating costs. I mean, that's just something that we've been working on for years, and we just have to do that. And we've expressed that we need some ongoing support from the city to help us do it and expand our programs. And we've laid out in that information, we've provided some information in terms of our budget and some planned additional activities. We want to do more, but we actually, if we don't have adequate resources, we're going to have to do less in all likelihood. So we want to do more, but we could be limited to do less. So we've proposed again to have a $10,000 commitment from the city on an ongoing basis in order to fund the expanded activities that we have for doing what we do for the city. And by the way, everything we provide for our citizens and our community is free. You don't charge to go in the cabins. You don't have to pay to come into our museum, our exhibit. Right now, our office, we're working on an exhibit. We have programs, they're free. We have all 700 kids at the cabins when they went out in the fishery. I mean, all those things. I go to the schools, we make presentations, it's all free. We have panels. I mean, we do all that stuff for nothing. That's our service to the community, but it does cost some money. And as I think we explained, the local governments all around this area provide support to the historical societies, the museums, White River Valley Museum, Kent, Renton, Fife, and so on. So we're just asking for the city to provide some financial support for us, to partner with us in more than just thanking us for the good job we do. We need some action along with the words. I mean, words are nice, but financial support is really essential for us to really do our job. And to be quite honest, we really were charged up and excited as this year opened up, and we were doing some things and really hope to have some financial support. And now, you know, if we don't get this, it's going to have an impact on what we do going forward. So I just wanted to pass that on to you. I know we sent emails out, but I have some printed copies. I'd be happy to sit down with any of you and go over any questions, but I know this isn't the time to maybe do that, but I'm available almost any time to come and visit with you.
Well, thank you, Jerry, very much for that. In fact, actually, the Historical Society... Thank you, Jerry, very much. In fact, actually, the Historical Society, even after that, the painting, as you could see, actually has a plaque, and it was one of your members, actually, that helped track down the family and the history of that artifact. Councilmember Duclos?
Yeah, I was a history major in undergraduate school, ancient history. And it's important that we understand the past to help us in the present and the future. And I think the Historical Society does play a very important part in Federal Way. So I would like the mayor and the council to try and figure out a way to help them. I don't think $10,000 is a great ask, and I really think we should be supporting you much more than we are right now. So thank you for coming to us, and I hope that we can work on this and come to a successful resolution to see to it that you keep recording our past and keep reminding us of where we came from, who we are, and where we're heading. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Duclos. Councilmember Maloney and then Councilmember Honda.
Thank you. Yeah, we talked about it last night at the budget meeting also, Jerry, and I think there is support, at least from some of us for, I just can't speak for everybody. I know from me, I've always supported partnering with and doing an ongoing contribution to the Historical Society. So I really appreciate you being here, and I do hope that we're able to find the money in the budget, because, and again, I think it should be a partnership and we move forward on an ongoing basis. So I hope we're able to do that. Thank you.
Councilmember Honda.
Thank you. A few years ago, For Culture did a study. Part of their mission, besides art, is heritage. And they studied cities in King County, including Federal Way, and how much we supported our heritage programs. And Federal Way wasn't high up on the list for how we support our heritage programs. So I would like to see this as an ongoing item in our budget. It's not comfortable to be the person coming and begging us for money. And I don't think that they need to do that. I think that we should support them. I'm not even sure the $10,000 is enough for what they do for us. And I think we should sit down and have a very serious talk about what they really need and what we can do to help them, because they are the only ones saving our history.
Agreed. In fact, actually, Jerry and I were at the closing hardware store, or lumber store, earlier this year, going over artifacts, and so they're an integral part. One of the things we'll need to do is we'll need to talk about the $10,000 that came through the anonymous source earlier this year, where we're still working on the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding. Is that right?
Yeah, we're waiting to talk with the city representative.
Okay. All right. So
we're available now. I guess I'll be out of town in a couple of weeks, so but other people will be here. But yeah, we have I think pretty well finalized the panels for this 25-year anniversary. They're all ready to go to the printer, so they're done. So we'll have 4 big panels on the 25-year anniversary. Those are basically done.
All right.
So.
Well, Jerry, thank you very much.
Okay.
We also have Dinah Noble-Gulliford here, who's my understanding is the current president of the Historical Society. Dinah, did you want to say anything?
No, I think Jerry covered it.
All right. Very good. Okay. Thank you very much, both of you. All right. So, council, we'll talk about that, and we'll be in communication. Is there anybody else who'd like to address the council in regard to the budget? All right. So, council, any further council discussion? Okay. Councilmember Duclos, do you have a motion?
Yes, I move to continue the public hearing on the proposed 2015-2016 Biennial Budget Adjustment to the November 17th, 2015 meeting for further public comment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilmember Moore, did you hear us?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. Are you in agreement to vote yes to leave the record open and continue the public hearing?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Mayor.
All right. All right. Now moving on to council business. Council rules of procedure amendments. Staff presentation first by Amy Jo Pearsall, our city attorney.
Thank you, Mayor. So on our last meeting, we had a special meeting to discuss the council rules of procedure, and the direction was to come back to this meeting with your decisions on the various council rule amendments and have a proposed resolution in front of you that would adopt those changes. So I'll go through them fairly quickly since we went through them once before. But if you have any questions, please interrupt me and we can discuss them. So the first one is Council Rule 2.1 sub 6. And this is extending the date to allow for the council retreat, the annual one, to be held in January or February. And that was really for scheduling purposes. The next one is Council Rule 2.24. Again, this is an amendment to reflect current practice. It would delete this information about a time limit for when you turn in your pink sheet, basically. And we don't follow that time limit. We allow people to fill out a pink sheet up until the start of the meeting, and even allow public comment during, and they'll fill out a pink sheet later. So that would just delete that. 2.2 sub 5. This is the elimination of some language that lists the things that are allowed on consent agenda. They're not quite accurate, and really the language in that rule doesn't require, it's not necessary to list those out. So that would just be deleted. It wouldn't change the effect of the rule, just the deletion of those, that list. Council Rule 2.28E, this is one of the housekeeping items I mentioned I would be adding in that wasn't discussed at the special meeting. Currently, the city clerk publishes the ordinance title in the newspaper, not the entire ordinance. That would be quite large. But the word title is missing from the council rules, so we're just going to add that in. Again, it reflects current practice and what is required by law. Section 3 is the section that's been completely rewritten that we discussed. This is one of the items that Councilmember Honda brought up some additional suggestions regarding the publishing of the agenda, when that's published and how. That was one of the items that we needed additional research on. So that's not reflected in this current version, but it is the version that was passed out at the special council meeting that I believe we had consensus on.
I have a question. Jim?
Yeah, Councilmember Maloney.
So you're talking about all of 3, all the way up to 3.8?
That is correct. So if
Okay.
you go to page, in your packet, on page 10,
Okay.
it shows the language that will be striked out, which was the old section 3, and then underlines the new language that would be adopted.
Okay. Oh, okay, hold on. Oh, so, okay. I've got section 4, then section 5, but then I've got 3.1 and 3.2 and so on underneath that. So is that just?
Are you looking at the resolution rather than the rules?
Yes.
In your packet, you have the resolution, and then immediately following that is the actual rules, also redlined.
Okay.
So if you go to page 10 of that rules packet.
Okay, I apologize. I made my notes on page 3 of 6, and do you have that one?
I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. So I just wanted to clarify on 3.4. When you're talking about the proposed agenda being provided to council members no less than 48 hours prior to publication. So you're talking about not the final draft,
that is
but
correct.
The proposed. And when you say publication, do you mean going out to management team, or who are you publishing it to?
Publication is when we put it on our website prior to the meeting. So normally it's the Friday prior to the meeting. So this rule is just a continuation of the rule that we currently have, which is the Wednesday prior to, so it's a week before the meeting, basically.
Okay.
But in reality, we give that to you the Friday before that.
Okay, so we're still talking about the draft.
That's correct.
Okay, all right, thank you, I appreciate that.
Are there any other questions on section 3?
No. Okay.
So Council Rule 5.1, again, this is to amend to reflect current practice. This is the exact same change that we're making to Council Rule 2.2. That language is just found in both 2.2 and 5.1. So then included in your packet is a new Council Rule 5.2. And again, this is something that was discussed in 2012 but didn't actually make it into the resolution. And this allows for the written comments, which will be read by the city clerk during the public comment period. And this is something that we do currently do. And here's a copy of that language, but it's also in your packet. Council Rule 9.6 is another of the housekeeping ones that I added. And right now, the council rules reflect how the mayor's mail will be handled, which really isn't appropriate. This was a holdover from the city manager, which made sense as the city manager worked for you. But the mayor's mail is handled in a different way than the council's mail is. And so that's why we're removing the mayor and from that rule. In effect, it has no effect on how we currently handle your mail. If anything is handled or sent to the mayor and council, that's considered council mail and handled exactly like all other council mail. We're only talking about mail that goes only to the mayor. So, Council Rule 911. This is one we discussed that currently prevents council members from meeting with bargaining unit members during negotiation time. We are currently in negotiation with all 4 labor groups, and the way that the resolution is drafted now, this will repeal that rule.
May I?
Yes.
Councilmember Duclos.
I think we need to have something in here, though, that makes sure that council is not interpreted as if they're meeting with the bargaining units, that we're not negotiating. That happened once before, many years ago, and a council member was accused of something, and that council member, denied it strongly, but I think it was misinterpreted by the members of one of the bargaining units.
You know, I've spoken at length with our city attorney, chief of staff, the deputy mayor, and I were just speaking about it. I think it'll be incumbent upon the council to clearly communicate, and it'll be incumbent upon, first of all, our city attorney and our chief and even myself and the deputy mayor to to do some either training with new council members or to make sure that the rules are clearly set forth. And I would certainly think that any conversation would begin with the words, "This cannot be construed as negotiation."
I think something in written for us, some guidelines or some suggested language that we can set out with them so that everybody is on the same page would be
Right.
helpful. I don't want anybody, being misinterpreted.
Agreed.
And that's very easy to happen when you're saying one thing and then somebody else hears it and all of a sudden it's changed from
That's
what
right.
came out of your mouth. So I think if we do this, I really would like something in writing for council members to have as guidelines.
That's a great idea. Thank you. I actually was just speaking today with Amy Jo about that. Deputy Mayor Burbidge?
Thank you. I have the same concern, Councilmember Duclos. I appreciate your bringing this up, and I did also, as the mayor mentioned, express my concern to him, and also had a conversation with our city attorney about just what you're suggesting in order to make sure that everybody's on the same page and thoroughly understands the importance of the conversations that we have. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Honda.
Since we're changing some of the rules tonight, but some of the rules we will be discussing at the retreat, should we just keep this as is until the retreat time? Would that make you comfortable?
Well,
More
it
comfortable?
was my recommendation to
Right.
respond.
Their council rules of procedure. I'm just suggesting for the council members who are uncomfortable with removing the entire list of Rule 90.11.
It certainly is an option, if you'd like, to wait on this particular one to remove it from the resolution, if you want.
Mayor.
Councilmember Moore.
Thank you so much, and certainly I respect the comments that I'm hearing from my colleagues, and I would actually tend to favor on just continue to move forward on these council rules as of today, and if something needs to be revisited, certainly I'm sure that can be the prerogative of the deputy mayor and at the council retreat in January. So I think that would be my 2 cents that I would like to offer.
Councilmember Duclos?
I don't mind moving forward. I just would like to make sure that we have something as a council that we can look at when somebody asks us to meet with them, just to be sure. A statement or two that we can make when we go into meeting with a representative from some of these bargaining units. I want us protected.
That's wise. Deputy Mayor, Councilmember Honda.
And do you have any language you want to add? Because we're changing it tonight.
Well, no, she doesn't mean the rule. It just admonishments to council members about sample things to say.
I don't need it in the rule. What I'd like is something in writing that says if you are going to talk with somebody while we're in bargaining, and we need notification of when these bargaining units are
Right.
happening. But here's what you need to be careful of. This is what you need to, watch for, and be careful of what you say.
Mayor.
Councilmember Moore.
Thank you so much. And the things, I definitely hear Councilmember Duclos' comments, and I agree, and I completely respect that. I believe I'm more than confident that the city attorney will email us when those situations are happening, and I'm sure. I think that would be my thoughts right now, and I apologize, I'm not 100% collected in my thoughts right now because I'm in a different environment, but that's my 2 cents right this second.
All right. Were you finished? Councilmember Moore?
I'm sorry, what was that, Mayor?
Were you finished?
Yes, I was. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Deputy Mayor Burbidge, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to ask Amy Jo when you might have something to share with council members that would be useful.
If this rule is repealed this evening, I actually have something prepared to send to you this evening.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, council, any comments on this? All right, go ahead.
All right. So the next rule is also a new rule. This is 11.4. This is the rule that would address attendance from a remote location, which is obvious tonight. We already do this process. This would formalize the protocols and procedures for attendance from a remote location. Those are written out in more detail on page 18 of the red line version of your rules in the packet, but it does contain all of the points that were in the PowerPoint from the previous meeting. I don't know if there's any questions about that.
Council, any questions on this? All right, please proceed.
12.3 is a housekeeping, and it was fascinating to find one city manager reference still left in the council rules after all these years, so that will be changed to mayor. And then rule 17.1, again, is a housekeeping. This is similar to the mail situation earlier. This also includes the mayor in public records. The mayor's public records are, again, handled differently than the council's public records. You have an admin that works with you and the city clerk, and that admin work together, whereas the mayor's office handles his public records and retention of those. It just doesn't make sense for it to have that reference in these rules. So that will be removed.
Councilmember Maloney.
Thank you. I'm wondering about this one and the one that we went over, that we quickly went by earlier in regard to the mail, which is at 9.6. What is the purpose of sharing this information versus, why are we sharing information between council and not mayor? Is it to be transparent? Okay, let me start over. So I know in the past, and it was actually even while Skip was here, Mayor Priest, we shared all of this information and between mayor and council and so forth. And so I'm wondering, is that to be transparent? And if we're going to carve the mayor out of that, does it make sense?
Just to be very clear, nothing that is current practice is changing. These are a reflection of what is currently happening. Right now, when the mayor receives mail that has no council member on it, that mail is not shared with council.
I actually realize that, but what I mean is that, so there's been a change from when Mayor Priest was here. I did recognize that.
Actually, that was an interpretation even before, while Mayor Priest was in office.
I will tell you that my experience is different than that, but what I'm really getting at is if the mayor's public records requests and mail is not going to be shared in a similar fashion as the council's.
I need to interrupt. I think there's a misconception or a misunderstanding. The public records rule only applies to retention of public records that you produce. So if you send emails, obviously the city's retention program holds that. If you have correspondence, your administrative assistant retains that. When the mayor produces public records, his administrative assistant retains that. This is just about the retention of the public records that you all create. It has nothing to do with public records requests that are received from the public.
Thank you for that.
So that's two totally separate things.
I appreciate that. Okay. So,
and I have on the list as well, I know that you had a request regarding public records in general, or actually I believe it was Councilmember Honda, about being notified if there's a request that involves you. That, again, as a matter of course now, that would be done. Okay. And this does not address that at all.
Okay, no, I appreciate that clarification because I wasn't reading it that way. But could I still still continue on the path I was on even though it's not reflected here, in terms of council? So I'm leaving the mayor out, but the sharing of mail and public records requests amongst council, I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but wondering if why is it necessary?
It may not be necessary. That's just the rule that we have. So if that's something that we'd like to add to the list to look at.
Okay.
Currently, if one council member receives a piece of mail and it's not marked personal or confidential, then it is sent to all council members. And that's how the rule reads, and that's what we've done. If you want to look at changing that, we can certainly do that.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Council, any other questions? Councilmember Sefadasa.
Yeah, Rule 11.4, attendance from remote location. It says number 3 is, number 4. Only 2 council members may attend any one meeting by remote communication. So what happens if there's more than two, because it's not addressed in here?
My understanding is it's first come, first serve. So if two have already requested it, then the third would be denied the ability to do that. Now, if you have something, if you can negotiate with one of the first two, to make that, to become one of the first two, then that would be between you and your fellow council members. But as far as staff is concerned, the first two, we would accept up to two requests. The third one would need to be denied because we just don't have, right now have the capability of having more than two. Mm-hmm. But if at the future we do gain the technology to have more than two, then we can update the rule.
So someone will just be left out then?
They just would not be able to attend that meeting from a remote location. They would need to decide if they're going to attend in person or not attend that particular meeting, and they would be excused from that meeting.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, council, any other questions about that? All right, go ahead.
And then the only other thing I wanted to address was the fact that other issues were raised at that October 20th meeting, and this dealt with alternates to committees, council committees, when agendas are published, and how that was the Section 3 issue, interviews of alternates. And I do have the section numbers as well. I think this encompasses the other issues that were raised, but if I've forgotten anything, please let me know and we can add it to the list. And then we're scheduled to discuss those at the council retreat. So that's all I have.
All right, council, any other questions? Okay. Deputy Mayor Burbidge, do you have a motion?
I do. I move approval of the proposed resolution amending the City Council Rules of Procedure.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Martin, did you vote? Councilmember Moore?
Yes.
Your vote on whether to approve the rule changes?
I definitely voted a proud yes.
All right. And just for the record, were you able to hear the presentation?
For the most part, yes. It's a little hard to hear, but for the most part, it's good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Amy Jo. I appreciate that. All right. Next item is the cancellation of the December 15th, 2015 regular meeting. Councilmember Duclos.
Oh, well, since that's my birthday, I move that.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Deputy Mayor Burbidge, would you mind, actually, Councilmember Duclos, as the mover of the motion, and since it is your birthday, can you talk about maybe the tradition that we have adopted at the City Council about that second meeting in December?
No, I'll let you do that, or Deputy Mayor Burbidge. I think she should, because this really would have been her motion.
All right, very good. Deputy Mayor Burbidge?
Well, it's my understanding that the tradition developed before I was on the council to cancel the second December meeting in order that the council and the staff could have more time to celebrate the holidays.
That's been consistent with my memory since I've been on here. Councilmember Duclos.
I just want to make one statement. If anybody is born on December 15th and until after the holidays, it's a terrible time to have a birthday when you're a child.
Especially as a child.
That's right. Exactly. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right, now, item C, Arts Commission appointment to fill unexpired term. Councilmember Honda.
Thank you. I move to appoint Daniel Hirschman as a voting member of the Arts Commission to fill the remainder of an unexpired term through December 31st of 2017.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Item D, Human Services appointment to fill unexpired term. Councilmember Honda.
I move to appoint Ken Stark as a voting member of the Human Services Commission to fill the remainder of an unexpired term through January 31st of 2016.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right. Next item, if that matter passes unanimously. Item 8, ordinances, second reading. Council Bill 691, proposed amendments related to the Federal Way Revised Code, FWRC, Nonconformance, Chapter 1930. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 691, proposed amendments relating to the Federal Way Revised Code, Nonconformance Chapter 19.30, an ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington, relating to nonconformance, amending Federal Way Revised Code 19.05.010, 19.05.090, 19.05.120, 19.05.140, 19.05.180, 19.05.190, 19.30.010, 19.30.020, 19.30.030, 19.30.040, 19.30.050, 19.30.060, 19.30.070, 19.30.080, 19.30.090, 19.30.095, 19.30.100, 19.30.120, 19.30.130, 19.30.140, 19.30.150, 19.30.160, 19.30.170, 19.30.200, 19.30.210, 19.105.010, 19.105.100, and 19.140.210.
All right, great, thank you. Councilmember Selsky, is there a motion?
Yes, I have a motion, Mayor Farrell, and Stephanie did a great job for the second time on the dot to dot.
Second.
So,
I'm sorry, go ahead. Well, I second she did a
that
great
motion.
job. No, I
So
couldn't, I was trying to follow those numbers.
So I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
I'll second it.
Oh, sorry.
All right, it's
Go
been
ahead.
moved and multiply seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right, item B, Council Bill 692, amendment to Federal Way Revised Code 6.40030 relating to forgery, non-felony. Would the city clerk please read the ordinance title?
Council Bill 692, Amendment to Federal Revised Code 6.400.030 relating to forgery, non-felony. An ordinance of the City of Federal Way, Washington relating to forgery, non-felony, amending Federal Way Revised Code 6.40.030.
All right, Councilmember Honda?
I move approval of the proposed ordinance.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Matter passes unanimously. All right, now moving on to council reports. Councilmember Asefa Dawson.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have much to report except that I was at the Super Supper for Federal Way Community Network. And I was honored and privileged to speak there. But I also was at the We Scare Hunger event the other night, and there were several of us here that were soaking wet. But we were with a bunch of excited, high-energy high school kids, about 100 of them. And so far, they've raised 2,200 pounds of food for a multi-service center and still counting. So hopefully it'll be, higher than that. And that's it for tonight.
Great, thank you. All right, Councilmember Maloney.
Thank you. No council report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Honda.
Thank you for remembering my name. Just that the Veterans Program is on Veterans Day, which is Wednesday, November 11th, from 2 to 3 at Todd Beamer High School, and it's put on from the Federal Way Noon Kiwanis and the Federal Way Historical Society. Everyone's welcome.
Great. Councilmember Selsky.
Yes, following up with that, I was going to make that same announcement, but you beat me to it, and thank you for doing that. And I guess I'd like to extend, as we approach Veterans Day a week from tomorrow, a warm and hearty thank you to all the veterans and all the families who sacrificed so much in your tours of duty and all the things you've done for our nation. So thank you very much as we approach that Veterans Day, that important holiday in our nation. And secondly, I want to just tell everyone thank you who attended or participated in the Multi-Service Center Helps Luncheon 2 weeks ago. The Multi-Service Center raised $53,000 in that event and counting, and that was about $12,000 more than was raised last year at the very first event. And so they also exceeded the goal by about $3,000. So it was a very successful event, and I know Councilmember Honda was there, and I can't remember who else from the council, but anyway, thank you for all those who participated, for the Multi-Service Center for putting this event on and raising this kind of money. And the theme for this particular event this year was veterans, and in particular with the Veterans Housing Project that's going up on Pacific Highway. There were funds that are going to be used for this particular project, and so again, thanks everybody for participating and helping in this great event. And that's all.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Moore, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, do you have a report?
Yes. First and foremost, we all know that it's election day here, and I wanted to continue to thank Councilmember Selski and his incredible service to our community. It's going to be hard to see a mentor. It's hard to see a friend go, but I know that everybody moves forward at one point or another, and I am very excited and supportive of his future, and I'll try not to spoil it for everybody with the results here. So even though I know the iPads are out and all that stuff, also had a great chance in Halloween to go to the We Scare Hunger event. It's actually my first time, as I shared that with Councilmember Lydia Safadas and Councilmember Honda as well. So it was really good to see a group of students come together to advocate for this important cause of feeding individuals in our community. And it was great to see the multi-service there as well in partnership. So that was fun, and also while I wasn't able to attend St. Vincent de Paul Parish, my home parish had a great gathering of obviously my colleagues on the council and many neighbors to come together and talk about the day shelter. Very excited about that cause and the fact that Federway is doing something, or the Federway is continuing to move forward in ending homesteads, which I think is great. So with that, I will say happy election day to everybody, and that's it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Duclos.
I'm just happy this day is over. I'm going to go home and enjoy a wonderful night's sleep tonight. And I do want to say that Veterans Day is something that's very, very meaningful for me. My most favorite Uncle Tony was in World War II. And Veterans Day means an awful lot to me because he did a lot for my brother and I. We didn't live with our parents, and he was there for my brother when he needed a male figure, and he was there for me too when I needed a good father figure. So, thanks, Uncle Tony, up there where you are.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Duclos. Deputy Mayor Burbidge.
Thank you very much. Last week, I had the enjoyable time and privilege of giving the welcome address to a conference that was supported by our lodging tax funds. It was held at Dumas Bay Center. It was the Stomach Cancer Prevention Conference, and this is the second year this has been held in Federal Way. The large meeting room at Dumas Bay Center was full of medical personnel, physicians, nurse practitioners, all kinds of folks who are interested in this topic, and the presentations were quite interesting. I wasn't able to be there for the whole day, but checked back in and heard parts of the presentations. And we're hoping they come back again next year, and that they also will be able to enlarge their attendance once they can present at our new Performing Arts and Events Center when it's built. I also want to mention that I was able to attend the Super Supper, although I had to come late because I was asked to speak briefly at another event. It was a meeting of the Namuri event. It's a group of Korean folks who work to support people in need, and this particular group has been working to support and assist the homeless in Tacoma. Most of them the folks who are working on this live in Federal Way, and it turned out they weren't as familiar with the efforts that are going on here in our city. So I gave them some brief information and said we need to have some talks and so that we can share information back and forth. And they were quite interested. And also I'd like to mention that Center Stage Theater is sponsoring a performance of some really delightful music that has a strong history in our country, and that's the music of Woody Guthrie. It will be performed this Saturday, November 7th at 8 p.m. at the Knudsen Family Theater, and also Sunday, November 8th at 2 p.m. And this is a program put together by Center Stage. So I encourage folks to attend one of those. Thank you.
All right. All right, with that, we are adjourned. Have a great evening.